I won't tell the rest, but it was just really positive. I started crying watching that video and I said, oh my gosh, I guess this is my sign. There's actually a really long story before I got the sign, I guess. What happened was I've been considering joining a pageant for a very long time, but I must admit that just before I received the sign, I said I was going to wait until I was 25 or something. So I really wanted to focus on acting. That's what I told myself. And then usually around the time of Miss Universe, and when I watch it, I get excited again. It's like, oh, I might do this. And then I always practice my walk and imagine that I'm part of the show. And this time I had a last acting workshop. It was our last session with Direk Ryan and Star Magic and Sir HB. That was, I think, just a few days after the pageant, the Miss Universe one. As in going into the session, I was like, he's definitely gonna tap on this topic. And he really convinced me. As in, I was surprised that he convinced me. And he said that you have to start now that you're 23. Because what if when you're 25 and you're too old not to join if you don't win? And what if you enjoy it? So at least now that you're 23, you can join again and again if you'd want to. It's such a short time to prepare, and I need more time because I've never joined pageants. And then he said, no, that's fine because you had your experience now with Asia's Next Top Model. He was right because I did have experience. After that, I messaged my manager and I said, do you think I'll ever regret if I never join a pageant? Because there was this feeling inside of me that, as in my intuition, it would not go away. And usually it goes away after a few days, and this time it stayed and it was stronger than usual. That is when I had another realization moment. I won't ever have that feeling of readiness, that I cannot wait for that feeling, that I need to start this. Best experience talaga is the pageant itself, and I can't wait for that. I have to start now. And that's when I was kind of confused. I said, this is not enough. My intuition is not enough. And so I asked the universe and I asked God for a sign, and I got my sign. This video recommended on my YouTube, and then it's kind of a tarot card thing. And I was like, this is so strange, because I was subscribed to the account, but I hadn't seen a video of them for over a year, I think. And I get the most random things on my recommendation. It usually is true crime because that's what I'm interested in. What are you doing there? And so I had this feeling I had to watch it. And then I won't tell the rest, but it was just really positive. I started crying watching that video and I said, oh my gosh, I guess this is my sign. Because I specifically asked for one. I didn't expect one, to be honest, but then I received it and I said, this is my time. They didn't have representatives for Pangasinan yet. Yeah, it was very spontaneous. That was the most spontaneous I've ever been. As a person, I'm not spontaneous, really. Plan things, and this was not part of the plan. And so it freaked me out. And there was a time where I said, am I actually doing this? But because I said yes, I said there's no going back. I have to push through and really do this. It was in May. Had a meeting with Tito Jerry. He's with Aces and Queens. And I remember we were saying that we have to remember this day because we're going to look back to this day and think, wow, this really happened. There is no preparation for Asia's Next Top Model. I was really just thrown into the competition. The only preparation that you can have as a model is experience, and that is photo shoots. And so I had the experience after Asia's Next Top Model because in there we didn't have any training whatsoever. The girls were the ones who taught me the runway, and I was never the way that my runway was ever since. And the difference now with this Miss Universe is that I actually have training, and before we shot video, I had 3 training sessions only. The pasarela training, I was said to kind of forget my old habits, to walk, and I really said there's nothing to unlearn because I never really learned how to stop the runway. As in, I never learned. Well, one that I really wanted to focus on, and it was the one that was freaking me out a lot before I even went in, was Q&A. So used to interviews, but interviews are not timed. So I can talk a lot, and I like to talk a lot. We've only started doing that actually just last week. You want to say so much more on a topic, but then you're not, as in you can't, because you will go over 30 seconds. We only started with 30 seconds, but surprisingly, I'm able to keep it short. But then I put a lot of pressure on myself, and I just wish I had better answers. As in, I have three languages in my brain. I think of a word and then it's German pala. With Callie, our coach, she's really not into pronunciation, as in she doesn't correct her pronunciation, which I like. And I guess that's one thing. A lot of times my pronunciation is wrong as I speak other languages, as in past few years, I've really focused on Tagalog. Yeah, because of acting. And I thought that would be an issue, the way that I pronounce things differently, but it never was. As long as you can understand it, as long as you can understand the message, that's the most important thing. I talked to someone, they said, if you were able to experience the Asia's Next Top Model thing with a lot of stress and being locked in for 2 months, even if there was a break in between, and you were able to experience that as someone who is still struggling a lot with their mental health and a lot of insecurities, and you are not as confident, if you were able to go through that, it should be nothing. As in, I shouldn't put that much pressure on myself, and I shouldn't stress out because of this, because this is just another experience. Whatever happens, at least I did it, because I should compare myself now to the person I was when I started 2 months ago. But there's a lot of improvement already, and I should focus on that instead of thinking what I'm lacking. I love the diversity. I love that we're allowing shorter girls to join, because there's so many talented, beautiful ladies out there who are able to inspire so many people, and to give them a chance is just incredible. There is some sort of advantage because we already have the following and all that, but not so much either, because let's look at Rabia. She was a dark horse and she was able to overcome everything and won at the end. We need to think of that, because a lot of people think, oh, because they're popular, they might win or something. But that's not true. We all have the same chances. We really need to prove ourselves on stage. I just love that we're all diverse and not everyone fits the beauty queen mold, but that is good because we're breaking that. I personally don't think I fit the beauty queen mold. Maybe my face and all that, my personality, I don't think so. And I think that's a good thing, because we need to allow this change to happen. Yeah, that's incredible, I think. I guess my experience as a model was different. It wasn't just a model, but I had won a modeling competition. So it was more in the spotlight. It was part of a competition. I wasn't just a model, but I became an influencer at the same time. And that was very different. An advantage is that I've already been in the spotlight. I've already experienced hateful comments, being on stage already, and having hosted as well. I have kind of my exercises, I guess. Another thing is just also being inexperienced gives me that comparison to my Asia's Next Top Model days, competing against beautiful women who are so experienced in the field already. So there are two advantages, being inexperienced at the same time also being experienced, but in a different field. And I watched this masterclass, and she said that you should think of that one thing that was a success in your life, and you should compare it and bring the same principles to that new experience, and just compare it to your success. The reason why you succeeded the last time could really help you succeed another time. And if you don't, then maybe it's not the right timing. Maybe God has better plans, but there's never a no answer. There's always something better. If this is your time, it's your time talaga.